You can now get a 30-day trial to experience The Athletic for free. Visit the link in the description below to try it now.
Hello there and welcome to Why Should I Care About This with Tifo Football. I'm Joe Devine, this is Alex Stewart, my friend and tactical analyst, and today he has the opportunity to try and convince me that I should care about something that I don't really care about. Right, today Alex, you have chosen to ask me to care about Jonjo Shelvey. Now I have to admit, I already care a bit more than I did before, partly because I'm bemused that you've chosen Jonjo Shelvey for this episode here. Now you have a few opportunities to increase my care. Please advance.
Okay. Number one, swimming.
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 What is swimming?
Right.
Not what is swimming, but you know, I know what swimming is.
Good.
But how does it relate to Jonjo Shelvey?
Okay, so Jonjo Shelvey is a divisive character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Within the Newcastle fan base, some people really rate him. Some people think he is lazy and gives the ball away. And we'll come on to talk about this a little bit. But
Sure.
he is known to be a spiky character. So when he played for Swansea in a derby against Cardiff, he made a gesture. He made this gesture, which is the swimming away gesture. And that has
Is that what swimming looks like?
That's what one of the 4 recognised styles of swimming look like, yes.
Okay.
This gesture has been interpreted as a reference to the 1988 Cardiff-Swansea fan clash when Cardiff fans ended up in the sea. So Shelvey is the kind of player who gets attention, who gets noticed, who does occasionally silly things. He celebrated a goal for Liverpool against Udinese by doing a 2-footed challenge thing in reference to a red card he'd received a few games earlier. Mm-hmm. He's somebody who splits opinion.
He's a symbol of our culture.
Yeah.
Our modern,
Sure.
divided.
Yeah, the polarized.
Yeah, polarization.
Okay,
yeah.
yes. So he's got an interesting background. He was born in Harold Hill, which was part of the Greater London Plan of 1944 to expand the urban boundaries of London. Did you know that the first ever council flat tenant to buy their own flat in London was in Harold Hill? That was in 1967.
Was it really?
Yes, it was really.
Mm-hmm.
He's Charlton's youngest ever player.
Sure, now we're talking.
And at that point began this career which looked like it could be stellar.
Yeah.
But it hasn't quite gone
When
to plan.
when did he go to Liverpool?
So Liverpool bought him after he was at Charlton. So he played, he made his debut when he was 16 at Charlton, played a couple of games, then he had 2 seasons there, then he moved to Liverpool for £1.7 million.
At 18 years old?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well some of that I care about,
Okay.
Move on to point 2.
Point 2 is England. So it may surprise you that Jonjo Shelvey has 6 England caps. Mm-hmm. He got his first one in 2012, he then got 5 in 2015. Little bit of trivia for you. He is the only Englishman to have been capped by England playing for Swansea.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating
Little
trivia.
flicker for you there?
Yeah, I
No?
can't wait to get out there and start telling people that one.
Okay.
That's good fun.
Yeah, good. So this is working. So the reason for this is that England in 2015-ish under Roy Hodgson were looking for a kind of Andrea Pirlo figure.
Yeah, okay.
And
how does this connect to Jonjo Shelvey?
Right. So Hodgson decided that this would be Jack Wilshere.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Jack Wilshere, obviously injury problems and so on. And so Jonjo Shelvey was the understudy for this.
Yeah.
And that gives a kind of indication of the sort of player that people thought Jonjo Shelvey could become.
Well, he has fantastic accuracy with his long passing.
Right, incredible range of passing, which we'll talk about in a bit. But
sure.
It's also interesting that he was caught in this transitional period for England. So he has undoubted qualities, like I say, we'll come on to talk about those specifically. Mm-hmm. But this was the era of England so he played in a game against Lithuania, right? 3-0 victory to England. The final goal of that was scored by Harry Kane making his debut, taking an assist from Raheem Sterling.
Oh, wow.
So this was
2015?
Yes.
Goodness me.
So this is the period when England are moving from one style of football, very kind of pragmatic, segueing towards the Gareth Southgate England DNA period.
Sure.
And Jonjo Shelvey is caught in the middle of this.
Yeah.
something that Hodgson thought he could do. He could be this kind of orchestrator from deep when Wilshere wasn't available.
Yeah.
It didn't exactly pan out, although he was man of the match in a game against Malta.
A backup orchestrator is kind of a strange idea anyway, isn't it?
It is a little bit.
Yeah.
Grace
you would have thought that
Robertson-
player would be the most important player.
Well, yes. Grace Robertson, who does a very good email out, said if you play Jonjo Shelvey as your defensive midfielder at a tournament, you're there for a good time, not a long time.
Sure.
And I think that is.
I think
sort
Newcastle
of an
fans might
indicator.
agree with that.
Well, yes, but I think that maybe brings us on to point 3,
Which is what?
which is that he's actually better than you think he is. He is.
That's point 3.
That's
isn't it?
point 3.
He's better than
Yeah.
what I think he
Just-
is.
just
or
accept
people think he is.
Okay, so
I think he's worse than you think he is.
okay.
But you go.
Is this a point at which I can kind of
No,
turn?
no,
it?
you,
Right,
you,
okay.
you go. You go.
So, over the last 365 days, he's managed
Why? God's sake.
he's managed a non-penalty XG plus XA of 0.18, which puts him in the 72nd percentile of all midfielders in Europe's top 5 leagues.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Say that one more time. It just flew by.
Okay.
It really did.
He gets a lot more non-penalty expected goals and expected assists than you would think he does.
Okay.
Is the major
He
point.
does play for Newcastle though.
Newcastle aren't very good.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's okay. He's a decent player in
Yeah.
a not very good team. So it doesn't surprise me that he gets a lot of
Oh, that he
goals and
kind of
assists.
carries. Well, yeah, but the thing is that he sits back for Newcastle and he tries to spray these passes around.
Yeah.
But so since August 2014,
Mm-hmm.
only one player in the Premier League has recorded more accurate long balls than Jonjo Shelvey.
But again, he plays for Newcastle, right?
Right. But
So I mean,
accurate long balls.
the point I'm making is that there will be players that play for other teams where they are encouraged not to play the ball long all the time.
Yeah.
And so if it's just the volume that we're discussing,
Yeah.
then it's kind of
But
irrelevant.
there's
isn't it?
accuracy as well. Well, no, it's not irrelevant because this is.
But if Thiago played for Newcastle, don't you think he'd probably average more accurate long balls, maybe? Or at least as many?
Not in the Premier League since 2014, though.
No, but you know what I'm
This is-
saying. You know what
yes,
I'm saying.
no,
right?
I'm being awkward.
You get what I'm saying.
I do understand, and this
I
is
reject
kind of
you.
the.
I reject you.
You
But
reject me.
Carry on.
Okay. So. I mean, what can I do? What can I do?
Say more things.
say more
It's
things.
your responsibility to make me care.
So Shelvey is an exceptional accurate long passer, right? But he
Mm-hmm.
also is able to spread the play around. He's able to. So if you go back and watch his game against Fulham, for example,
Yeah.
at the end of last season, against Fulham, end of last season for Newcastle.
Yeah.
Within the first couple of minutes, he moves across, intercepts a loose pass, and like with one touch, curves this ball out with the outside of his foot towards an onrushing player. Like he is capable of the kind of passing.
I don't doubt it.
Right.
But why does he play for Newcastle? And again, no disrespect to Newcastle, right? I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
no.
But the way that you're describing him
Yes.
should mean that he should have opportunities to play for a team higher up the league.
Well, this is a really interesting point. You're kind of slightly anticipating point 5 here.
Oh,
Yes.
what point are we on now?
I don't know.
3, wasn't it?
I think this is 3.
Let's
Shall
halt
we move
and
on
go
to
to point
4?
4.
Yeah.
What's point 4?
So point 4 is where he does fit in for Newcastle and where maybe he could be better used.
How?
He's integral to what Newcastle do. Now, whether you like it or not, his job is to spray the ball around, get it forward to these players. You know, Newcastle, they tend to sit very, very deep. And Shelvey's the only guy who really moves the ball forwards in this way. As you say, he's capable of a range of long passing that's basically unparalleled in the Premier League. He's an incredibly good technical footballer. Go and watch his stuff.
It's not that, it's just
Trust
like,
me.
yeah, I just don't think you have the basis to say that. But do carry
I
on,
mean,
do carry on.
okay. He
I'm
can
not
get
uninterested.
forwards. He can play a little quicker. He, you know, little 1-2s and stuff like this. When he gets up towards the edge of the box, he poses a threat. He scores fantastic goals.
Sure.
Check out the goal he scored against Manchester City.
In 2019. Oh, I
good.
remember it, that
You
one.
remember that one?
Lovely
Yeah,
goal.
yeah,
really,
so-
really good.
Across.
I think I told you about that. But go on.
Sure. The problem that he has is that as long as Steve Bruce is in charge of Newcastle, he's going to be asked to do this. In fact, Steve Bruce has even, at the end of games, used him as a kind of libero figure here, as
Sure.
a sweeper with this range of passing.
Yeah.
Not an idea that if you've seen his one-on-one tackling, it's particularly good. Although he is very good for blocks and interceptions per 90.
Now, is this 0.5?
This is 0.4. So 0.5 effectively is a kind of segue into this.
Right.
Which is the reason that Jonjo Shelvey is most interesting, is that he's a kind of transitional player. You asked earlier why he's not at a better
What does that mean?
Than what he is. So he basically is caught between eras, right? As football became quicker and there was more pressing involved, his passing skills, his free kick skills, all of that good stuff paled in comparison value-wise to his all-round game.
Sure.
So he does things...
All the things that makes a footballer a good one now.
Yes, a good one now.
Yeah.
So this is why Hodgson could use him in that role for England back in 2015, spraying the passes around. But as football kind of developed and became more energetic and more dynamic, Shelvey is left with a skill set that works quite well at Newcastle because of the way Steve Bruce play, but would perhaps be better served somewhere else. So in the Championship...
Where else?
Well, in the Championship where he has more time, he can pick those passes a little bit better. That's why he's excelled
not good enough to
that
do it
level.
At this level.
Because what's going on around him as well doesn't necessarily help. Or maybe somewhere like Italy or Spain, where he can take a kind of regista, deep-lying, orchestrating sort of role and do that. But he's caught between two stools. Like this incredibly promising young player. Forget all the spikiness, forget the fact that Newcastle fans are on his back for a lack of running, that kind of stuff. He had a skill set which over quite a short period of time didn't transition to how we've played football for the last 5 or 6 years. So he's still really good at certain things. He's still definitely worth watching for the goals, the passes. But football moved on.
It's a bit like if I was amazing at handwriting, but I worked for a data entry company.
It's an excellent analogy.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure that I agree with everything you've said, but I have to say, it's been interesting to disagree with you. So overall, sure, I care about Jonjo Shelvey now. I mean, in this moment now. I can't say that when this is finished.
Moving forwards, who knows?
I feel like maybe in the same way that football left Jonjo Shelvey behind, I might do too when I leave this seat. But it's been fun for now, so, good job, pal. That's the end.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic brings you the best sports journalism in the world in a personalised experience, connecting you with the stories and teams that you care about the most. There's coverage of 13 sports, plus direct access to world-class journalists through live Q&As, discussions and podcasts. Not to mention, it's all ad-free. And you can try it now for free for 30 days by clicking the link in the description.